All right, everybody, welcome back to Fast Gadgets. Pixie says hello as usual. She's happy to be here today. And what do we have today, Pixie? Oh, you want to show them? You want to show them, Pix? Do you want to show them? Okay, we'll show them. Oh, we got Meadow here too, don't we, Meadow? Say hi. All right, buddy. Got two of my pals here. Okay, let's get back to it. They don't need to see all the mess, you guys. You know how that is. So, got a new member of the family to add, and no, it's not another puppy, although with my wife it's hard to say what'll happen. But I procured a used system that I just couldn't help myself buying. Couldn't pass up the deal. So here it is. There's no box, so we're going to make it really easy. We have here a 2009 MacBook Pro. Or is it MacBook? I know that some of these were labeled a little different, so let's check it out. Nope, this one is definitely a MacBook Pro. And as you can see, if you look at it, this thing is in absolutely tremendous, beautiful shape. The owner of this system took very, very good care of it, and when I found out it was for sale, I said, you know, yes, I would like to buy it. I like this older unibody design, plus it has something that's helpful to me if I want to install software or transfer software from a DVD or a CD to my network or a thumb drive. And I do have, of course, a desktop computer that I could do that with, but this right here, definitely a big help. And of course on this side it's got a Kensington lock and one tiny little nick right here, no big deal. And then on this side, of course, we've got the battery meter showing pretty good. We have a slot for a memory card, a couple of USB ports, a mini display port, which I do have the cable for, and looks like a slight dent here in the RJ45 jack, which we'll see if it works, and honestly I won't be using it all that much anyway. And this is a FireWire port. I honestly don't know. I guess it would be an 800. I never used FireWire, so I don't really know much about it. And of course my absolute favorite, and I hate to see that it's gone, is the beautiful MagSafe slot, which is very handy indeed. And of course the system, my favorite feature, well, one of them anyway. See if we can get it to come on. Nope, not yet. Uh-oh. Sounds like my battery might not be in the greatest shape. Really doesn't surprise me on a 2009 though, but otherwise this system looks to be in absolutely superb shape. So it's in the process of booting up. It did also come with 2 power chargers. Now, whenever a computer comes with 2 chargers, my first thought is there something wrong with it? And, you know, with a system this old, it could very well be a battery issue. And again, that wouldn't surprise me. But at any rate, I've got 2 chargers. One is the side mount type, and the other is actually a straight on, which is kind of like the newer one. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And overall, would I use this one? Yeah, sure, why not? So they left the password as password. And we'll just let it log in. And it looks like it's set to remember the last thing that was open, which I was playing with some applications to make sure everything was working. And one thing I see I need to do right away. Well, first of all, I'll probably create a new user, but I don't like the natural scrolling. I always reverse it right away. I don't know about you guys. But the screen is in excellent shape, no cracks, no damage anywhere. Looks really good. And what would I use a system like this for, you're probably wondering? Well, if you know me, you know that I have a couple of older MacBooks. So I've got another one here that I actually used for some time as my primary MacBook, which of course was the 2008 MacBook. And I really like the 2008, and so much so that I actually upgraded the RAM to 4 gigabytes, or was it 6? Now I can't remember. Let's power it up and find out. And put in an SSD. And with this system, you know, I might do the same thing. We'll see how good it's working and go from there. But I'm really impressed with this system here. And having an old MacBook, you might think, well, what could you possibly do on it? What kind of work could you get done? Well, actually quite a bit. Give me a second, I'll log in here. So yeah, I actually made use of the 2008 for some time. It was a system that I regularly used. I actually created movies on it and did all kinds of different things. It has a working drive, DVD drive I should say, super drive. And it does have a slight, whoops, sorry about that. It does have a slight bend here. And it suffered a pretty heavy hit right here. But I bought this system as is a couple years back. And I still do use this system. It's kind of fun when I take it to work and somebody says, wow, I've never seen a MacBook like that. And it's usually one of my students, and I say, well, this one is probably, you were probably 8 or 9 when it came out, basically, you know, 2008. And I wanted to go ahead and get the next one the next year. And this was not the first model unibody, but it was pretty darn close. And what I do like about this one is I should be able to upgrade the RAM. I've heard people say that this unit will take up to 8 gigabytes of RAM. So let's have a quick look here. I'll go into Finder. About this Mac. So this is the 13-inch mid 2009. It's got a 2.26 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo, 4 gigs of RAM, running at 1067 megahertz, and it's actually got an NVIDIA GeForce 9400M, 256 megabytes. So I think what I'll do, I'm going to go ahead and get this sucker logged into my network, and we're going to run Geekbench 3 on both of these systems and see how they do. Now you can see this one actually has an Intel Core 2 Duo T8300 at 2.4 gigahertz. This one has an Intel Core 2 Duo P7550 at 2.26 gigahertz. So a little bit slower, but I was curious, you know, how would it run? So we're going to find out right now. I'll do run the benchmarks. And while it's running, might as well keep talking. But anyway, I really love this system here, but to me it's gotten to the point where I consider it vintage, and I realize, you know, this 2009 computer here also, I mean, if you think about it, is also definitely a vintage system. And you got a system that's getting on to 8 years old. It's pretty much vintage, but what impresses me is the toughness of the unibody chassis design, the number of ports that are available, and quite frankly, you know, the amount of work that you can still complete on one of these computers, they're still excellent systems. And if you look at Pixie, she agrees, don't you, Pix? Do you agree, buddy? Woof woof. Yep, she's agreeing, aren't you, Pix? I do really like the 2008 design before the unibody. I think it's a beautiful system. I'm going to keep this one. I probably will never get rid of it. I don't even care if it has a little ding in it. And we'll see with this one. I'll probably end up putting in a SSD in it, maybe increasing the RAM, and go from there and decide what exactly I want to do with it. But I do like collecting some of this older stuff. And, you know, I, of course, have the MacBook Pro Retina model here, 2015, that I use quite frequently. The other system that I use a lot is my MacBook Pro, excuse me, not my MacBook Pro, my Yoga 910 by Lenovo, which is my newest current system acquisition. And really, they're both beautiful systems, the Yoga 910 and the MacBook Pro Retina. But it's nice to have a backup system in case you're in a pinch. I have had a lot of people ask me, and this is a good time to talk about it. They say, you know, I'm thinking of buying a 2008, 2009 MacBook Pro, and I'm going to be doing video editing with it. Do you think I should get it? Now, with the 2008, personally, I said no, I really don't think it's a good idea. Case in point, you can see what I'm doing right now. Changing the fan RPM to higher because for whatever reason the BIOS just doesn't kick the fan in like it should. And these systems, if they get too hot, you know, it can damage the graphics chip. So in some ways it's a really good idea to, you know, take the system apart and go ahead and get in there and put in new Arctic gel to help keep the system cooler. In my personal opinion, it's one of the more important things that you can do if you're going to run this thing for editing. And I'm speaking now about the 2008 system, which our scores are in. We've got 1275 for single core score and multi-core score of 2438. Let's see what it says about system information here. Older processor, slower RAM. This one slightly better, 1294 versus 1275 on the single core. Multi-core 2438 on the 2008, 2345. Might as well get both of those in here. 2345 on the multi-core. So overall, just a hair better on this system and slightly faster RAM, running at 1067 over here versus the slower 667 over here. But this system I still really do enjoy. And I have to say, comparatively, the screen here, although it's very beautiful, this screen on the 2008 to me is a far better, higher quality screen and easier to read. And of course it's a 15-inch, so it's larger, and I like that everything's larger, especially with, you know, my eyes. They're not the greatest, so I really do like that. But anyway, thought, you know what, for that price, a couple $100, I might as well pick this system up. If I want to in the future, I could always sell it to somebody else. Still definitely very usable for daily activities. If we decide to, and I never use Safari, so how do I, okay, new tab. I have no idea otherwise how to bring up a new tab. And I think I'm on the new tab. So let's cruise over to YouTube and let's just start a video here. Here's the latest one. And we're going to go ahead and go full screen. Very smooth, no stuttering.
Welcome back to FastGadgets. So today
Very clean. Looks like it's not quite running, and there we go. Just switched over. And it does do auto 720p because that's what this particular screen can actually show. But let's boot it up to 1080p. Tell you what. There's a video that I like to use. Hopefully I won't get in trouble for this and end up getting a copyright strike. But whenever I go in and I'm going to buy a new system, I always cruise over to the Costa Rica 4K video. And I'll just run it silent. This is 60 frames per second. We'll kick it up to full screen. And right now it's on 1080p. I think I'll just leave it on 1080p because really I'd be happy if it could do 1080p. And it looks beautiful. 60 frames a second, 1080p. I honestly can't complain. I'll probably do some editing on this. I'll get iMovie installed on it and check it out. And it'll be an excellent backup system for me that, you know, if I want to use it on the road or whatever, and I don't want to bring my good system or something happens to my good system, I'll still have this. All right. I don't want to play that too long. 46 million views. I think I need to go around and start filming in 4K. Maybe I would get more hits. Anyway, I don't worry about the hits. So this system, love it, but you know, honestly, I just try not to push it too far because I want it to live as long as it can. And I just make use of it from time to time. I really do like the screen. Even though it's a lower resolution, I actually don't want to log out, do I? Even though it's a lower resolution, it still is beautiful. So we'll go ahead and shut this one down. Now we'll bring out the MacBook Retina and we'll close the lid on this one. I'm going to end up getting, this one has a clear case on it, so if it looks thicker than it normally is, you can see here on the edge the clear case here and here. But yeah, of course this one's thinner and all that good stuff. But you know what? Really don't have any complaints. I always like this chassis design. It is a little heavier than I'd like. That's why I got this one, because it's lighter. I mean, I can hold it like this, even though it's the 2015. And it doesn't kill my fingertips. This one, I can pretty much hold it the same, but I can feel in my thumb. You're not going to be able to hold it very long like that, but it does feel like a really decent computer. And the 2008, of course, on the back, they had a door that you could take off and get to the battery and the memory and all that stuff. And nowadays, of course, on these particular unibody designs, they have screws that you unscrew all the way around to get into the system. I have no problem with that. I can handle that. At some point, I think on another video, we'll go ahead and replace the hard drive with an SSD and maybe consider booting that sucker up to 8 gigabytes. Now, this system here, of course, will only support El Capitan, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm thinking that what I could do, and what I've heard is a possibility, is you can go ahead and flash the BIOS. So, system report, somewhere in here, I think it tells you. Oh, it's a MacBook Pro 5.5. So actually, this one should be able to upgrade to Sierra, macOS Sierra. I'll have to verify that, but I thought it had to be at least MacBook Pro 5.1 in order to be able to do that. There are versions that are 4.1, and you can flash the BIOS in it, theoretically, the firmware, to have it update to 5.1 so that it could still do Mac OS Sierra, which I'm not on any of my Macs, so I'm really not worried about it. Yosemite and El Capitan are good enough for me right now, but sometime in the future, yeah, I probably will. I'll probably put all my apps on here, my editing apps and other things that I use. Probably going to put DOSBox on here because I do play some games, and why not have it in here so we can do some stuff on it and get a nice little case for it, and I think it'll make a nice machine. Before I leave, I wanted to make sure, did I answer the question about actually using one of these for video editing? The answer is yes, I would definitely use this one for video editing. Now, it's probably, of course, not going to be the fastest. It has about the same numbers as my 2008 model. So that's telling me that basically what I've been seeing, if I edit a 10-minute 1080p video on my 2008 model, it usually took about 20 minutes to render it. So I'm expecting around the same thing from this one. It might be a hair better because the memory is a little bit faster and it's a newer processor. But I'm thinking, usually double whatever the time is. So if you're making 20-minute videos, sure, it's perfectly acceptable. And honestly, even if you were doing an hour-long video, if you've got the time to wait, I don't see that it would be a problem at all. I think it would work perfectly fine. So just something to keep in mind, if you're looking to buy an older system like this. Don't expect it to necessarily be the fastest system, but it doesn't have to be. You hear a lot from YouTubers that say basically, well, if this system doesn't render, in 3 minutes, then I'm going to have to go ahead and upgrade and get an all-new system because it's not fast enough and I don't have time to wait. Well, okay, now if you're a YouTuber that's making tens of thousands or millions, okay, yeah, I could see your argument. But if you're somebody, like me, just got a small channel, just kind of starting from the ground up, just enjoying what you're doing, we don't need to see ads for Beauty and the Beast, do we? Then, okay, I would say, no, you do not need the best system ever. So if you're just getting started, this thing's going to cover just about everything you need, in my humble opinion. That's how I see it. So consider that. Definitely a good system. And would I buy one of these to edit on? If I didn't have one and I wanted Mac, I would say yes. V Westlife uses his 2008. I could still use my 2008. So if this one, something happened to it today and something happened to this one, yeah, I would still pull out the 2008 and I would edit on it. And I did that many, many times. So sure, why not? Just got to be mindful of the heat on that one. You really do on any computer, but on this one especially, be mindful of the heat. I've got speed fan on there. Or is it SMC fan control? I always get them confused. So I've got the fan control on there, and whenever I go to do some editing, I just boost the fan speed up to high and make sure that it doesn't get too hot. That's the bottom line with those ones. And if you have a chance, you could take the motherboard out and put some new Arctic gel, Arctic paste, thermal paste in to make the system work that much better. The thermal paste does get really old, so at some point I'm probably going to tear apart the 2008 and take care of the Arctic paste and see if I can make it run much cooler. So as always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again on Fast Gadgets. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, of course, you can always leave me a comment. Or leave me a comment if you do like it. And if you really like it, share. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time on Fast Gadgets.